folks. Welcome to First Church. My name is Anna Bundy Hagler, and I am one of the associate ministers here. And today, I'm joined by another associate, Reverend Anthony Tang, Pastor Anthony, as we know him well. And your title is Senior Associate Minister of Mission and Vision, correct?
It is.
Okay, Anthony, you've been here...
Year and a half.
That's nutty. That's the fastest year and a half of my life. Was it of yours?
It's been fast, yes.
What's your current favorite part of your job?
Oh, I mean, clearly it's just getting to work with so many fabulous people, both on staff and our lay people.
Yeah.
It's been wonderful. We've been we've moved from Arizona to here. I've spent almost all of my life in Arizona, except for a few years for school.
Yeah.
And a little bit for work. So coming to Texas was a little bit of a culture shock.
A little bit, I can imagine.
Everyone has been so hospitable and loving and welcoming. So it's made the transition much easier.
That's nice. Obviously I'm biased. I've been here 4 years, but I just love the people of First Church. All of you who watch and who worship with us and who make up the work of the church, you're just really good people to work with, and we're so grateful. And for those of you who are watching who are not yet a part of any of those categories, one, you could be. Two, we'd love for you to get involved and get connected with this fabulous group of people while we're doing good work here in Dallas and in the greater, work of the world, I hope.
Well, I was just talking to somebody yesterday, in fact, and they mentioned that they wondered if people see the outside of our church being a historical church downtown, and wondered if people feel intimidated of, I don't think I'd be welcome there. And yet the people here are so welcoming and down to earth, and it's a great place to be.
It's a great place to be. Don't be intimidated by our structure. We're doing the best we can with a 100-year-old building that's really beautiful.
Yes.
Don't let that stop you from coming in. Okay, Anthony, what we do here is we start with last week's recap. I cannot believe we're after Christmas. This is the nuttiest time of my life. Nothing makes sense. I don't know what day it is. But since we've all been together, we had Children at the Manger and our traditional Christmas Eve candlelight service. So, Children at the Manger, this is your second year.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first year, the moment that the camels came out?
I do. I just couldn't believe how amazing and filled with wonder and joy it is.
It is like that, and it's wild because when it's your first year doing it, you know that it's chaos, right? People call it mayhem at the manger, or chaos at the manger, whatever, what have you. But if it's your first time and everything's happening and it's all chaotic, and then all of a sudden these camels come out and there are kids as wise people on the camels, you're like, this is one of the most grand experiences I've ever had of the retelling of the Christmas story. I just think it's so fun. And then every year after your first, it's still just as moving.
Well, what was great about this year is that last year I didn't know what was going to come. I was sitting under the one spot where I could not see the star. And I was like, what am I missing?
The star.
I have made sure that I would be positioned.
You have to see the star.
To see the star.
And if you have been here and you have not seen the star, sit somewhere else. That's a good word. What I love about Children at the Manger is that it's so chaotic, and it just reminds me that the first night of Christ's life had to also be chaotic. The whole thing. We get into this really beautiful, it's kind of like the tradition of people reading the night before Christmas book. It's this precious, lovely,
romantic.
Yes, nostalgic tradition that we have, when in reality I can't help but wonder how chaotic the first Christmas actually was. And so I love that our service really just takes us into that.
Well, and especially in the Luke story, right?
Yeah.
You've got the shepherds and the angels, and imagine these farm animals,
Yes.
and just so much is happening.
Yeah.
And I think that really brings out the children at the manger, just brings out the joy
No.
and could I say a little ridiculousness
Yeah,
of it.
you can say ridiculousness. I do think that that counts.
Yeah.
It's so good.
And also part of, I think, the experience of Christmas in general is that ritual
Oh, yeah,
of
say more.
going through all the parts. You know, when people sometimes tell me, oh, I just don't feel like it's Christmas this year.
Yeah.
And what immediately comes to my mind is you've probably just missed the rituals
Mm.
of doing the same things each year after year at this time of year.
Yeah.
Because as we walk through those rituals, it brings alive that experience.
Yes.
And Children of the Manger, Christmas Eve,
Mhm.
those are so much of a part of it that we can't miss those.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we have missed the season.
Yeah, it like the reason that you feel the magic of Christmas is the things that anchor us to the magic that's been created, right? Like we have to put landmarks in our season to remind us of that. That's such a good word.
And even now, right?
Yeah.
It's the fifth day of Christmas.
That's wild. I
And
love being in the church.
yes. Well, and you
Yeah.
know, so many people think that they confuse the season of Christmas with
Right.
Advent. So they think that the 12 days is leading up. But then when
Right.
we recognize that Christmas Day's the 25th, and then now we have the 5 Golden Rings Day.
Yes.
I think for me, this reminder that, yes, the celebration is continuing all
Yeah.
the way into Epiphany.
Yeah.
When we can celebrate the wise astrologers coming
Yeah.
on those camels.
On the camels. If you have not seen the camels and you want to know what are they talking about, or I missed it, I didn't get to be in person this year. All of our services live on YouTube, but especially our Christmas Eve services are on YouTube. So we encourage you to go back and watch those. I guarantee it will not be a waste of your time. Guarantee it. Okay, Anthony, you've been here a year and a half. People get to interact with you based on what committees they may be a part of, or if they're coming into leadership or anything like that. But I want people to know a little bit more about you. And so right now on our show, we're doing people's top 5 favorite something. And I know that you like to cook. So, Anthony, what are your top 5 favorite things to cook?
I would not claim that I'm a great cook.
Pretty good cook.
You know, I like to experiment.
Uh-huh.
And
Cooking's a good way to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, any chance I have to experiment with something that's really, well, and I love to eat, so being able to bring those two together.
Yeah.
Like the time I didn't know, like I hear all these different ideas about how to marinate chicken.
Yes.
And so one day I just said, I'm just going to do it. So I got multiple chicken breasts out. I
Yeah.
put one in beer and one in buttermilk and
Ooh.
one that I dry brine. Don't do that. And so I prepped all these different chicken breasts, cooked them
Yeah.
all the same way.
Yes.
Buttermilk.
Is the best one.
Oh my word. Yes. Way better than the beer.
Okay.
Um,
Have you watch YouTube?
a little bit, yeah.
Have you watched the guy named Google Foods?
I don't know that.
Okay, I'll show it to you afterwards. But he does a similar thing where he like I'm taking over the segment, but I'll make it quick. So one of the ones is he cooks a lot of steaks. So one of the ones he like makes a regular steak, but then he like mayonnaise what did you just brines a steak? And the mayonnaise steak apparently is a good one. I'll show you the video afterwards.
Oh, that's
So
fascinating.
Anyway, continuing
So,
on with you.
I like to experiment. I like
Yeah.
things done slowly. So my cooking is not fast, but
Yeah.
I have a recipe for a 72-hour short rib
Oh, that
and,
sounds
and
so
a
good.
100-hour oxtail.
I
They're
love this about you.
amazing.
You have so much patience. It could not be me. Yeah.
I've also been working with grains, and so I've started making pasta bread and cereal
Because you mill
do-
your own.
because I've started milling my own grain.
I love that though.
And let me see, I love to cook
Yeah.
etouffee, gumbo, stews,
Okay.
which I'm so excited about this winter time because
Yes.
this is
Lots
a
of
great time
soups,
for
stews.
soups and stews. Yeah. Oh,
That's
and last year, your lasagna,
I made
chicken
a
lasagna
yes.
soup was really good.
Thank
I remember
you.
that.
I appreciate that. I also love to cook, so this was a great one for me to hear. But I love making like breakfast foods, and I love it's not really cooking, but I put a mean charcuterie board together. So anyway, if you're watching this, we'd love to know what you love to cook. Share a recipe with us.
Oh, I'd
One
love
of us
that.
will try it. I guarantee it. Um, thank you. I hope that somebody brings you a recipe that you're like, okay, we'll try that.
I love experimenting.
I know you
So,
do.
yeah.
That's great. Well, kind of speaking of experimenting, the next thing we do is a department update. And the experiment that I'm referring to is kind of this new leadership retreat. Will you tell me what I'm talking about and when it is?
We're so excited. I mean, everyone's really, the nominations committee is the one that really suggested it just because, as they're interacting with
Yeah.
people throughout the church trying to form our committees for the new year,
Yeah.
they recognize that different pieces were missing. And so Pastor Mitchell's been getting really involved and we're excited. So we now have, let's see, 2024, we had just barely over 200 unique leaders
wild.
serving on
Yeah.
various committees. This year, I think our number's around 235.
That's great. Yeah.
So it's going up, and we're inviting everyone who's serving into our lay leadership retreat, where we can talk about how do we get a big picture of how everyone's work fits together.
Yes.
Especially with our mission and vision this year. So now that if we recognize where we are and we know where we want to go,
Yes.
then there's lots of freedom in that direction. But how can everyone pull together so that we're moving as a body, as a unit, as a community towards that vision?
Yeah.
So the lay leadership retreat will give us a chance to make sure we're on the same page,
Yes.
that we're communicating well, that we can address conflict in appropriate ways that are healthy and that we can learn from. We'll be really taking the time to understand how all the committees work together will be a big part of it.
Yeah. That'll be great. And it's when?
Saturday, January 25th. It'll be
Yes.
9 a.m. to noon.
Yes.
And I know that the nominations committee is really big on breakfast tacos. So we're going to try to see if we can make that happen.
So if you're in leadership, you have received an invitation and a save the date. If you have not and you think, I think I need to be a part of that, email you.
Absolutely.
And make sure you get the information so that you can join us on the 25th. Well, thank you. I think that that'll be really exciting. Now we head to worship. Roy is preaching today. I think it'll be lovely. I imagine many of you are worshiping online, so let us know that you're worshiping with us, and we can't wait to worship together.